Good morning. This morning we're going to do a quick build video on assembling the sub 250 gram flying wing, the Danger Mouse. It's a very easy operation, and I know most of you guys have already done this type of stuff before, so I'm not going to get too specific. So we're going to start out with, I took the printed out drawings and I used contact cement, this stuff. This is 3M multi-purpose 27, and I sprayed the drawings and put them on poster board. So it makes a permanent template. I'm going to cut everything out, and here it is. I did the same with the fuselage sides and the tiplets. So while I was doing this, I noticed I made a slight mistake with the drawings, and we're going to correct that right now. We're going to shorten this slot by a 1/2 inch. This is the top of the tiplet, this is the back of the tiplet. So towards the back, we're going to shorten the slot by a 1/2 inch. And on the wingtip, we're going to do the same thing with this tab. We're going to shorten this tab exactly 1/2 inch. And the reason we do that is so that when you put the tiplet on the wing, it squares up perfectly. You can't put it on misaligned. This is backwards, but that's okay. You get the idea. All right. So that's the correction you have to make. And then after that, we simply cut everything out of foam board. I only use Dollar Tree foam board, ready board. Everything else is too heavy. And we end up with this as the cutout. But we have to make the KK1 airfoil for the wing to fly properly, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. You take a second board, foam board, you lay the regular template out on top of the foam board, and this is what you mark. You start here, you mark this, up the edge, up the leading edge, and just to this shoulder. You do the same thing on this side. Shoulder, leading edge, down the wingtip, just to the tab. And that's what you mark out. But before you remove this, you take a pin and mark this corner point right here with a pin, and this corner point right here. That's going to give you the exact layout for the KK1 airfoil, KF airfoil. Done. This is what you get. Cut this out, and this is what you get. So what we're going to do at this point is we're actually going to start some assembly. We're going to physically start assembling the airplane. So first we're going to do the ailerons. I've already showed you the bevels. So we're going to show you how to permanently hinge the ailerons. We do that by cutting about a 3/4 inch wide piece of reinforced tape, just like that. So I always start on the inside, fold this over tight, the aileron, piece of 3/4 reinforcing tape here, just pull it around and tape it down. That's it. I know a lot of people use hot glue in the hinge, and I've used it, but what happens if you get a little heavy-handed with the hot glue and don't get it all off, you have a very hard aileron to move. This makes it much easier. That's it. That's all you got to do. Okay, so we're going to start a quick assembly here because there's not a lot to this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to glue the Pine Fogelman 1 Type 1 airfoil down. I finally get that right. And so first thing I do is I lay it on, make sure it's lined up perfectly all the way around, and then I take my pencil and just mark out the back side. And the reason I do that is it just shows me where to put the glue. So I'm going to start just with that. Press this down. Nice and straight. And just give it a nice good press it down. That's it. Alright, because you pre-beveled it, you don't have to do anything else here. This is ready to go. One other thing I want to show you though, and one other thing I like to do, this is a very sharp edge. So I just take a sander, I just go over it a little bit, not a lot, just kind of soften the edge up a little bit. That's it. So the next part is the fuselage sides. So what we need to put the fuselage sides on is the glue gun and a little square. So you run the fuselage side up here, stick it off the side of the table. Get the square ready, and just throw a little glue on the marks. Push that right on where it belongs. Nice. Use the square to set it nice and square. And let the glue dry. That's that. Now we're going to do the other side. This side we can't go off the edge of the table. So, do the same thing. Glue right down the line. Right inside here. Hold it right on the lines and let it set up. Alright, we're going to turn over to the bottoms. The bottoms we do from the inside. What I do for this type of gluing, I cut a little piece of foam like this, foam board, and then I cut a small little corner off of it. Right, I'm going to do 4 of these. Alright, so we got the square, we got the glue gun. These line up with this corner right here. That's where that lines up with. So we're just going to hold it on that corner, run a bead of glue right down the edge. Take this piece with a little notch in it, just lay it in there and wipe all that glue out of there. Just let that set up for a minute. Same to the other side, same thing, line it up. Bead of glue. Again, a little piece with the corner cut off. Zip the glue right down. Square. Just let it set up. Alright, the fuselage is done. That's it. Now, I took another piece of, this is just regular poster board. It's 10.5 inches long and 4 1/16 wide. And that, when we get done, we're going to glue that right in here, just like that. But we don't, this is the last thing we do, is glue this in. So now we're going to do the tiplets. Now we're going to glue the tiplets on. So the first thing we want to do is we want to squeeze this tab down just a little bit, like that. Put the template right on, like that. Stand it up on the table. Make sure we got a nice, smooth, tight fit. And then run a bead right down there like this. Bead of hot glue. Let that set up for a second. Just wipe it right off. Take square, make sure everything's nice and square, and just let it set up. Turn around, we're going to do the same thing on this side. Nice bead of hot glue. Take our little foam board and just squeeze it right out of there, just like that. Check with a square, make sure it's nice and square. Let it set up. And that's really all the hard parts of the project. These you cut out for your servos. I'll show you that real quick. These are the control horns. These control horns I just made out of an old scrap of 1/16 plywood. You could use anything. Popsicle sticks work great. A little slot in the wing. Control horn pops in. That's it for your control horns. Now the only tricky part left to do is make the control rod. So we take the Z-bend, like that, here, and we lay it on the 6 1/16 mark. All right, straight up in the air. At 6 1/16, I mark this with a magic marker, and I bend it 35 degrees. All right, that's for the one side, and the second one, I do the exact same thing, 6 1/16, 35 degrees in the opposite direction. So it'd be 35 degrees one way and 145 degrees the other way. And that gives you your control rods. Simple to do. And let's see what else I can show you. Oh, now, this is the motor mount. This is all prepped. This is a 1408 3600 kV motor. It's for a 4-inch quad. little quad motor. I got a 30-inch, 30 amp ESC already soldered up, all checked. So this just slips right in the end here, like this. Like so. You follow if you look, the back cut here is not square with the fuselage. It's slightly in. It gives you a little bit of upthrust. That's what you need. Just follow that, glue that in, and basically the airframe is done. And the only other thing I do is, once I'm complete with everything, I take oil-based high gloss polyurethane, and I polyurethane the whole wing. And how I do that is I take a rag, dip it in the polyurethane, and I rub it down the whole wing, the whole airframe. And then I take a dry rag and rub it all off. And that seals the paper, and the things last for a long time. As long as you don't crash them, they're great. Okay, and once you're done, and urethane the foam to seal it, you could spray it. You have to use a paint that has one coat application, because you put too much paint on it. Paint's heavy, and it immediately put it over the 250 gram minimum. But this is the finished product. You can see how the control rods work when you're done. All right, this particular one has a foam board top. You can do that also. Actually, the poster board's easier. It shows you where the battery goes, and how I have trimmed the nose out and put a 200 milliwatt mini FPV system in it, which runs off of the receiver power, and it works great. There's no interference. Flies really nice. Flies really slow, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. Thanks again.